Okay. Hi, this is Matt Kendall, and today I'm speaking with Mandie Bridge, who's in Ellesmere.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, very good. It's early. It's early. It's a Monday morning, and it's early. It's Monday the October. I worked with Mandie for. We did 3 sessions in total, didn't we? So
Yeah,
we did
we
3
did.
sessions. It's since our last session. It's been at least probably about 2 months. Did you say at least?
I think it's longer. I think it was
Yeah.
May. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did 3 sessions over about a month to 5 weeks. And so we did 2 sessions. So I always do 2 sessions with people, and then we decided to do a third, which is what I do with people. I do 2 sessions, and then if we both feel a third session would benefit, we then book that in. And then since then, we're going to do a different interview. But Mandie did come. I'm actually speaking to an IEMT practitioner right now, because Mandie was so taken with IEMT that she was like, oh, I was going to do an accent, then I won't do an accent. So she's like, I'm Northern, but I can't do a Northern accent. She's like, I want to learn this. So she came down from Ellesmere. She did the IEMT practitioner in September, so a few weeks ago. And on Friday, she was certified as being an IEMT practitioner herself. But this interview is going to be about her experience as a client.
Yeah.
If you want to see Mandie's other interview, it'll be somewhere on this website or YouTube or wherever you're watching this. It'll go to a few places. So first of all, we're going to talk about her experience. So good morning, Mandie. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Matt. I'm great. Of course, I'm great.
Excellent. So first things, what was wrong with you? So what were you? So we're not going to go now. I'm just going to ask the questions. We're going to let Mandie say as much as she wants, because the thing is with IEMT, it's content free. Yeah. So we didn't talk about much of the actual stuff it was, for me to be able to work with her. But basically, I'll ask 2 questions at the same time. Essentially, what were the problems you're experiencing, and what was it that led you to having IEMT and knowing me?
Okay. The problem that I was experiencing in March, which was rage. Absolute rage at the slightest thing. Everything was all out of proportion. Because I am a lady of a certain age, I'd concluded that it was the menopause, and that's why I was going, well, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was going insane. I'm a life coach, so the only time life seemed normal was when I was working with clients. But I seem to be having all sorts of trauma thrown at me from various parts. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't imagining that, because I was going through a really tough time with family and one thing and another, and there was conflict, etc., etc. But my responses to just ordinary everyday things, such as like rock music. I was a rock chick, Matt. I grew up with it. I loved it. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear to have that.
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, the stress that brought up in my... Also, my boys, I have 2 boys at 21 and 24, and their banter used to wind me up. Any sort of... I remember going out for dinner, and as people were drinking, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, I had to get out of there. The atmosphere... I think it was about anybody else losing control around me was completely freaking me out.
This seems so weird to talk about now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And this isn't even that long ago. This was...
No, March. Yeah.
This seems so weird to talk about now. I remember all this now. It kind of comes back to me, yeah.
And letters coming through my door freaked me out. It was bad news. I had a bad news syndrome thing, because bad news was coming into me from every available orifice, or so it felt. And I just thought I was having some sort of emotional meltdown. I thought it was the menopause, hormones out, all the rest of it. Because the last time I felt anything like this was hormone-related, pregnancy, post-pregnancy, etc. Anyway, I went to my doctor and I got a diagnosis of PTSD, which devastated me. I felt like a victim. And I'm a coach, I'm strong. I have my big girl pants on. I'm used to picking up my shield and getting out there and dealing with whatever shit life threw at me. And I felt like I've been disempowered having this diagnosis. However, I was very open about it. I do lives on Facebook every morning. Once I got my head around it, obviously I was quite open. And one of my clients, Lou Gimson, who is an extraordinary human, as you know,
I've also done interviews with her as well, if you look on my YouTube channel, yeah.
She recommended you in the IEMT process. And so that's what triggered me to get in touch with you.
Yes.
I'd done some research, as I would, to find out what would fix me.
Yeah.
The doctor asked me to do an online CBT course, which is hilarious because that's what I deliver. So I did start working on myself, and I found out about EMDR.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, that's kind of the route I was going down until I met Lou. And what drew me in was the fact that this was so fast and content free.
That is, and a lot of people seem to think I dislike EMDR. I have absolutely no problem. I think anything that helps people is a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And people always ask me, what's the difference between IEMT and EMDR? On my website, IEMT Academy, there's an article about this, and also on the association. Essentially, it's both using eye movement, but in a very different procedure. EMDR is an 8-phase system, what I believe. IEMT is different. IEMT, you'll work with what's coming up, as opposed to having an 8-stage system, and it's much more flexible. It works in different ways. You have patterns of chronicity. So it's both. It's like saying, what's the difference between Chinese cooking and Italian cooking? They both use ingredients, but the you know what I mean? The results are very kind of different. You're both making food, but it's kind of in a different way. So you had a PTSD diagnosis. You had rage. You had so you had like your Incredible Hulk kind of thing going on. When people were annoying you, including your sons, when they were just talking, bantering, you couldn't be in. I can remember you couldn't be in pubs and stuff, could you? Because you used to.
No, I couldn't go out into pubs. I remember my nail technician miswrote down my nail appointment. I honestly thought I was going to explode in the shop. You know, she was taking the mickey out of me, as she's always done. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and I just wanted. I don't even want to go there thinking about it, you know. And she knew I was having a meltdown and was like, it's that completely out of control of your responses.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what IEMT is really good at. It's the disproportionate response to a trigger. Little thing, getting the nail appointment wrong. Wow! You know what I mean? And so, because IEMT finds out the sensitizing event, or the initial sensitizing event, or the imprint, it's all the same thing, of where this kind of came from. So we had a few things to kind of work on. You'd never experienced any kind of eye movement therapy or anything like that before, so you didn't know what to expect in terms of results. So we did a couple of sessions. We had a pre-talk. We worked with Lou, one of your friends who I'd worked with, again, who came to do the training after she'd. It's my funnel, client training, right? Client training referral.
I think she's coming to you for a refresher, actually.
Oh, brilliant, excellent. I'm going to do trainings every month as well. People are watching this every month in London and hopefully around the UK. And if you want to host me abroad, just drop me an email, matt@iemtacademy.com, Australia. And so you'd obviously you know therapy, you know CBT, you've been, you know, so you know this, you know, you've had quite a lot of this. Just as a little aside, I'll come back. This is the problem with the NHS. And so a good friend of mine is a GP, and he said, you know, if somebody comes to you with an emotional problem, which men won't, you know what I mean?
No.
Men would prefer to die than go to a GP to say, I feel sad. Really, you know. He says, okay, a GP's appointment is about 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, we can usually do one of two things. Medicate or send for testing. We can't sit down and look at everything, you know what I mean? So we can send you off for counselling, but that might be a 6-month waiting list. You know?
Absolutely.
And so there's a lot of people who either don't go to get help or go to get help, but that help is then a long way away. They've just got fantastic services, don't get me wrong. They keep me alive, literally. And I think that the mental health is coming much more to the forefront, but it's still, I think that if you want good results, really good results, and much, much quicker, you can pay there and get faster.
Yeah.
That's something you really can.
Yeah.
So we did 2 sessions. How was it? How did you experience it? What was it like?
I remember very vividly the first session being really nervous, being scared, you know, really nervous. I was at a high level of emotion during it. And I know for me, because I think you referenced it on the third session. We have got some pretty complex issues going on. So I think because of the complexity, I had quite an extreme reaction the first time, but I took a couple of breathers, didn't I? I think because I was reconnecting with very deep-rooted memories, very emotional moments. But the release and the relief as I got rid of it, and it was almost like I knew it was going to be the last time I experienced it. It was very cathartic, but emotional. So yeah, that was the first session, and I remember being exhausted after it. I purged, like I'd purged myself, which of course I had. That's exactly what I'd done. I know that now. That was the first session. I'm sorry, did you ask me about the second? Or
no, please do. Yeah, just.
And the second one was good. I think it was a week between them. I definitely needed that. And in that week, I noticed my responses were dialing down. I was becoming desensitized to all the stuff that I was highly sensitized to. I knew straight away, I knew immediately I was getting better, immediately, straight after the session. And it just got better and better and better. But what happened in that first week is all this stuff sort of floated to the surface. It's like you'd stirred a stagnant pond and things had floated up.
Yeah.
And so on the second section, we really got stuck in, and you managed to uproot all that stuff as well, and also make me look at things going forward in a different way to what I had been doing in very recent times. I mean, as a coach, obviously, I'm wired in a positive way. So, you know, that was there, but you managed to free me of anything that had been holding me back.
And that's, and, you know, as you said, you know, you see things in a positive way. IEMT only looks for things that are negative.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer any form of outcome. It doesn't offer any form of you're going to feel good. It's basically all I can do. And as an IEMT practitioner, as you know, we can only work on stuff that's negative.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff, for example, tapping, I'm not trying to pick on it. You start saying affirmations, I love myself, I care. It's nothing like that. It's very much like, what's the problem? Hold the imagery and let's move your eyes. Let's go to the imprint. So when we were doing the eye movements, what was it like actually experiencing having eye movements? What did it do in your head as we were actually doing them?
I've no idea. I've no idea what it was like, because I suppose I have. Yes, I probably have. I think there was a point where I felt a let go. A couple of times I felt like something had distanced itself from me, or let go, or I forgot what I was supposed to be thinking about. And then I thought I'd done it wrong because I hadn't been paying attention. And of course, I now realise that's all part of the process. But
you let go of the imprint.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and you know, because the idea is to focus on the emotion around it. And then I just started wondering if you'd cut your fingernails that morning or whatever it was, you know, because I was watching your fingers. And so, yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that's what was going on. And obviously the upshot is the emotion was dialed down massively, significantly, if it was still there at all, depending on what it was.
So we did 3 sessions all in all.
Yeah.
Can I ask, have you seen your GP since at all?
Yes. No, I have, but only when she came to see my mother.
Okay.
But also she'd given me some... some meds.
It's anti-anxiety meds or something.
Yeah, just to take if I was having a particularly, and to use sporadically, which I did occasionally. And of course, she did ring up and do a follow-up to say, how's it gone? And that I didn't need any more of these, which I didn't, and all was good. So yeah, I did see her. I mean, she's wonderful. So, and she was just really pleased, obviously, that everything was okay.
Good.
Another thing I wanted to say to you as well is when I look back, because the great thing about IEMT is the dust settling. And it took a couple of months for me to make sense of all of what the hell had gone on and what the hell had gone on in my life, in my past, to bring me to that, as sort of as a pinnacle of this negativity, I suppose. But I also realize now when I look back at those sessions that I was still kind of in the middle of the trauma.
Yeah.
Where I was then had sort of kicked off all these other negative emotions from my past, but I was still experiencing trauma at the time. It was still coming at me. So I think that's why that third session was really useful, like 2-3 weeks later, to sort of, it was to believe, it helped me to believe and to finish off. Yeah.
So did you think, because like I say, we did 2 sessions and a third session. Did you think that the changes you have now got, and we'll talk about how it's been since, did you think it was possible to have this amount of change through any kind of therapy, let alone like a 2-session, 3-session kind of intervention?
It was, well, obviously I believe in therapy because I'm a life coach, and but what I believed in was real bloody hard work. Me having to work on myself to get these things done, because that is what I've always done. And effort and work and self-discipline, and this, it's kind of took the effort out of it. So if I was to do something, I didn't have to work really hard to do it. I didn't have to wade through a load of rubbish to make whatever I was doing effective. Yeah. That's the big difference.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what it is. It's like going for like, no, I think counselling is brilliant, and I'm not trying to dismiss counselling or anything like that. But if you say that you went for 6 months of counselling to deal with your PTSD issues, that may have involved speaking about the problem every week.
Yes, and that would have been horrific.
Yeah, and you know, we again, when we talked about the actual thing, I don't need to know. We didn't even really get into the details of what the issues were. Excuse me. We didn't get into the actual details of, you know, the actual, I didn't know what caused the PTSD.
I was going to say the two main events, for me, I was raped and I was petrol bombed.
Right. See, I didn't know that.
You didn't even know it. No, because I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah.
What I told you about was what I was experiencing in the now. And then you found the root emotion, and then I worked the rest out myself.
Yeah. And see, what we do is we take the emotion people are experiencing, we take it back to the first time they can remember being that way or feeling that way. We begin to move the eyes, and then basically it goes to the different imprints. And what people say is that when you start to release all this stuff, you get to see your past in a completely different filter.
Yes, you do.
Now, your future is projected through your past. You know, it's how you. So what happens is that when you start to clear out your past, as it were, your future naturally becomes a better projection without you trying to imagine it, without using the law of attraction and imagining all this kind of stuff. Because I believe that's all to do with escapism. I really do. With this, you just, if you've had a really bad past and where you are now, your future, why would it be any different? And you've got all of these, what I explained, that IEMT is very good at basically like closing down windows in your mind. Yes. So if you have a laptop, if you have lots of windows open, because traumatizing memories are not dealt with, they're not processed properly for whatever reason. There's more research. I'm going to do an interview with, were you there when, no, you weren't there when Gabby was there. We had a neuroscientist on the one previous.
No, you told us about it.
Yeah, I'm going to do an interview with her about what she believes is happening about it.
Good.
I know, I'm fascinated by it. And the way that I kind of like to describe it is that if you've got lots of windows open on your computer, everything runs slow, plus you get pop-ups, and these can be intrusive thoughts, flashbacks, okay? Yeah. Yeah. What IEMT does, it opens up that window, not nice to look at, but then closes it. And then it goes into long-term memory where it's just a memory.
Yeah.
And IEMT carefully just closes these windows quite precisely, and then things just can run better. Just can run better. And that's the best way I can describe it. Is that what you found it for yourself?
Yeah, and the coach in me is sort of screaming up a little bit, because, you know, the law of attraction thing, I know exactly what you're saying. And whilst I'm not a particular, I'm not particularly a great believer in that, all the wafty stuff, as you know, I do believe that what you focus on is what you bring to you.
Yeah,
which is basically the law of attraction, but not in sort of wafty way of you can sit there and do nothing and just it'll all come to you. You do have to put the work in, but I think what it does, it's okay. It was like a cartoon sound effect.
Yeah, I know.
But what it does do, IEMT removes all the blurriness. It removes the fog. And it allows you clarity of thinking, which enhances focus, and you are empowered. It's very empowering, because you're empowered to move forward. You have self-belief, you have determination, because all of the stuff that's been holding you back has gone.
Yeah.
And it's a release, it's a freedom, it's a liberation.
And this is the interesting thing. People want all of these things, you know, the empowerment, the determination. And so what they do is they put a lot of hard work and effort.
That's what I've seen, yes.
And trying to get that. And it's like, I always say it's kind of like, it's like the bullet train versus a normal train. So with a normal train, you've got, you know, it's on rails. It takes a lot of energy to get going. A bullet train levitates like a few millimeters above the ground on magnets. Push a little bit, it goes a long, long way. So IEMT really helps to sort of minimize the resistance of moving forward. And I always say, if you change the emotions around something and then you change your actions, soon your life is in a very different trajectory from where.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I've found. And I mean, I'm all for putting work in, and I'm all for, you know, doing that, but it's so much more efficient if you don't have a weight behind you. I think it was one of my IEMT case studies said she feels a lot better without carting that bag of shit around with. You know,
actual baggage. And we say the word baggage because you know, you feel weighed down because of things.
Yes.
So let's ask you, how's it been? So that was back in May, wasn't it? I think our last session. So it's October. So it's been a few months now. How has life been since?
It's been busy, but I have been able to cope with a lot of change a lot easier, so much easier and so much calmer.
Yeah.
I've also been able to reflect back and look at what brought me, make sense of it all, understand why I've been through what I've been through and what it was teaching me. That might sound a bit wafty for you, but I do believe there's a lesson in everything. And it all makes sense to me now. But what does happen every now and again, and it happened last week on my mum's birthday, is, you know, where you have a very deeply ingrained response to situations. That's something that's been going on that long, you believe it's who you are and what you're wired to do. And something cropped up on Mum's birthday, and I sort of experienced a negative internal dialogue going through there and no connection with my emotions whatsoever. Now that is awesome, because and that's the first time for a long time I've had the negative internal dialogue, which would have absolutely taken me down at one time. But to actually experience the dialogue and me going, actually, do you know what? I'm okay with that. I am okay with that, and still be surprised. So I'm still being surprised. And that was only a week ago, and I'm still being surprised at the
difference. This is what it is. IEMT is not the denial of things that have happened or saying that things won't happen to you.
No.
It's changing your reactions to things because of what you've learned in the past. That's basically what it is. And what was interesting is that, you know, I met your partner, and he was saying to me, our lives are just different.
Thank you.
Yeah. He came up and he was like, you don't understand just how different her life is, which means my life. And so how have your relationships been with people? How's your nail technician? Is she no longer have you noticed your relationships with family, friends and stuff have changed as a result as well?
Well, I've stopped having my nails done completely because I don't need it. I don't know why I was doing that. I don't know what that says about it. But no, generally speaking, seriously, certainly my relationship has improved hugely because I've not been putting him through the ringer anymore. And because I'm now a practitioner, I've had the glory of being able to help him release him from any scarring that I did, that is a gift. You know, so that's been wonderful. But yes, my responses, and I think you posted something yourself, what annoys you now? You know, one of these play things on your Facebook. And I'm sort of going, nothing. No, nothing really annoys me. I get an eye roll, but that's kind of the sort of height of I mean, I'm sure that something will crop up, but generally speaking, I wasn't able to find something. And yet at one point, that's all that was in there. Things to rage about, and you know, expecting the world. I think that overwhelming feeling that you want the world to understand how you're feeling. And you rage.
So absolutely, I completely get that. Because you're hurt, you want to transfer that hurt to other people. And unfortunately, a lot of that happens in therapy.
And I was going to say, I get that from clients. You know,
and so with IEMT, it's, no, this is your problem, I can help you. I think it was Andy Austin who taught me this once. If you walk past somebody and they're in quicksand, you getting in there to help does not help.
No.
What you have to do is you have to tell them, come where I am, where it's safe. Because so many people, and you'll see this with people on Facebook, when people like, I've had a really bad day, or they check into a hospital. What are you doing? You know, they just check into a hospital but not say anything. And they're just looking for attention. They're looking to share their hurt. Or people who keep doing things to raise awareness of things. It's like they want to transfer. You don't understand how bad I feel, so I want to make you feel bad. Well, that's not how society grows.
No,
you know.
and you're right. I'm one of the things that I look back now when I was talking to Lou, and Lou was telling me about what had happened to her for her to go for IEMT. When I obviously had PTSD at the time, and when she was telling me her story, I was in bits, and she was fine. She was fine telling me about it.
People can watch this. There's a video. Lou got an incorrect cancer diagnosis, a terminal, and the results hadn't even come back. Now, she had cancer before, but she hadn't got cancer at the time where this consultant said that she had. And her family were told she was going to be, dead within weeks, basically, which is a lot to take on. And so we did a lot of work around that. And like I say, she came to actually do the IEMT as well. But again, I'm not breaching confidentiality. This is an online interview about this. This is an online interview.
But also Andrew Austin said something that stayed with me as well. And I've talked about this on my own broadcast as a result of that, the whole victim mentality, and that people feel better in a group surrounded by victims because then they can feel better about their hurt. And therefore it gives them permission to not do anything. To get out of it because they've got company. And actually, once they are fixed, where do they fit in? You know, they have to find a home. And that's another thing clients have said. I don't know why. One of my case studies actually said to me, she's having to review her friendship circle now because she's not in the same place as them anymore. And so, that was very powerful for me. See that a lot.
No, you often find with group therapy type of stuff, it almost gets quite competitive on how bad your problems are. And I have seen this.
When I first started coaching, I was doing platform coaching and all the rest of it. And I realised then that the one-to-ones move people forwards much faster. You know, it was at their own speed, at their own impetus, and there was no competition. And you know, the other thing is they offer each other support, but it's not always the right support, you know. That's the other thing too. So.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Can I ask you, just, do you consider yourself still to have PTSD, or do you believe that's something which is behind you?
Something that's behind me, definitely. Yeah.
And when you were diagnosed with it, did you think that was like a terminal, like
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I was a proper victim. I broke down at my surgery, at the doctor's surgery. And she had to comfort me because it was like it was the worst possible scenario, and such a surprise because I just thought I'd gone with hormones, you know, and it isn't something I'd ever considered. But it's been a gift. That diagnosis has been an absolute gift. I genuinely believe that. I said that to you. I'm so pleased I had it because it's given me my life back. It's got rid of a lot of rubbish from my past. It's empowered me to help people in my family, loved ones, and it going forward to make a difference to other people too. So.
Yes, if you hadn't had the PTSD, you wouldn't have got IEMT.
I wouldn't.
So just swapping one set of letters for another.
So, yes.
Cool. So basically, if you have anything to say to the people who are out there who are watching this, who are in a position of hurt, now your case was quite severe. You know what I mean? It was and the thing is, people watching you now probably won't believe how much of pain you were in. You were in an awful lot of pain. And this was like less than 6 months or 6 months ago, something now, or 5 months ago. If somebody's watching this, and again, they don't have to be in a tremendous amount of pain. They could be going through a divorce.
Heartbreaks.
Heartbreaks are big.
I think I wish I'd done this a couple of years ago, but you know, we can all say that.
The best time to plant a tree is years ago. You know.
I think what upsets me is that people feel that it's shameful to admit that they're ashamed of the fact that they've turned to someone for help, or they feel like they've failed because they've not sorted themselves out, and all of that. And 2 sessions, Matt, 2 sessions. It's that's where the work's done, in those 2 sessions. Why would you not do that? And in a week's time, you can feel amazing.
And also, sessions with me are generally quite fun, because I'm not really into the IEMT is not meant to be care and support, and this is why I do like an interview with people beforehand. This is only people who want to change. It's not for people who want to be supported in their problems.
No, absolutely, yeah.
And so, if people who are like that, they need to see counsellors, talking therapists, maybe CBT, something like that. IEMT is like, I've got this issue, I want to change it. I want to break free of whatever it might be. And when people come to see me for sessions, again, I work with a range of people, from sort of high-end entrepreneurs who I did an interview with recently, who basically, he had an issue at work, and we sorted that out, and now his businesses are just skyrocketed. So anything from productivity, limiting beliefs, what you might call them, I can find out why, or just generalized anxiety, or again, if you've been through something really bad. Now, guys, I want you to listen here as well. I worked with Mandie, who had 2, you got what, firebombed?
Petrol bombed.
That's bad. Unraked, yeah. Those are 2 really bad things. Although we worked on them now, I'm only finding out about that now, okay? Yes. And she didn't tell me anything about the details of it, and yet we were in to do a tremendous amount of work. So, guys, if something bad has happened to you, say that you've been abused, even by a family member. I've done an awful lot of stuff from like the religious section, and a lot of people who've come through these football academies and have had public school. Or if you've had embarrassing incidents and you don't want to talk about them, well, good, neither do I. But I can really help you without actually having to talk about what happened. Yeah. And afterwards, what's interesting, you will be able to talk about it, but you won't have the emotional reaction.
No. In fact, everybody wants to tell me, my experience was with the people I've worked with, they want to tell me what they've dialed back afterwards. I really wish they wouldn't sometimes, but they do. Yeah.
It's like, did you ever think you'd be able to like openly speak about those incidences that have happened to you without, and what was weird, as you were talking about them, you're almost smiling. as
Yeah.
you're talking about them. There's no emotional connection.
I've actually joked with someone, look, you know, I've been raped and petrol bomb, you can't scare me, you know, and I've actually used that recently and then gone, oh my God, I didn't say that. But yeah, it's gone, it's not there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's gone. Well, your emotional reaction to it is we can't change what's happened. It's your reaction to it and how it affects you. You know what I mean?
My reaction to it is it's not going to hold me back. It's not going to stop me moving forward. Yeah.
Mandie Bridge, thank you very much for your time. If people want to find you as well, because I know you do your daily lives on Facebook, that's under Mandie Bridge.
Yeah.
Mandie spelled M-A-N-D-I-E, not
That's right.
Y-I-E, Bridge. I know what it says here. So Mandie Bridge, and also, is it Mandie Bridge Consulting, or what's your website?
No, it's counselling and coaching. Mandie Bridge Counselling and Coaching is my business page, but it's linked to my personal page anyway.
And you're up in Ellesmere.
That's right, I am, yeah, in Shropshire.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.